Research experience for undergraduates, generally referred to as REU, is sponsored by the National Science Foundation. And this project the sponsors 8 students yearly. This is very special because apart from the research, the students also are involved in extension work where they go to the community and work with the farmers and explain to the farmers how they can best do the farming. And of course, they also learn from the farmers about what they are doing. So the students get 8 weeks of research experience, working alongside international mentors, wonderful peer mentors, graduate mentors for 8 weeks, and then they prepare their results in terms of posters, PowerPoint presentations. They write a manuscript at the end of the 8 weeks. And the climax is usually this symposium where they showcase their work.
I'm working on a project using GWAS, genome-wide association studies, to identify the gene loci responsible for cold tolerance in sorghum. And that's really important because if I can do that, it will then be able to be used to breed more cold tolerant lines of sorghum that can then be grown in higher elevations in Kenya and essentially increase the arable land of sorghum. Sorghum's in high demand for things like brewing and food and all that sort of thing, so it's very important.
So it's a full circle sort of project, which is very nice. It can increase the nutrients in the bread, but then it can also, therefore, because we're gonna put it in these markets, and lentil is grown mostly it's actually all grown out of Kenya. Sorghum is grown in country, but if we can put those things in bread and consumers consume it, then there's more nutrients, and then the consumers will demand it because it tastes good, and also it makes them healthier. And then they'll start growing these lentils and sorghum more on these farms, so it can help with food security in terms of nutrient acquisition, and then also in terms of climate resilient agriculture. So agriculture and consumption are both helped for the project.
Sorghum is very difficult to sell. So what do we need to do? What we have taken as a team is to develop a strategy that can enable this sorghum to sell to the consumers. And the strategy is we are trying to develop cultivars that are required for the various sectors in our country.
My project is on bacterial and fungal endophytes that are present in African kale, and we're doing this research to help reduce pesticide use in soil and help keep soil healthy and usable for decades to come, as well as fight against food insecurity.
Endophytes are non-pathogenic bacteria and fungi that colonize plants and live inside of them without causing any disease. So some of these endophytes, rather than doing nothing, they exhibit plant growth promoting, or PGP for short, behavior. These PGP endophytes can assist a plant in resisting drought conditions, fighting off pests and diseases, and the like.
We've identified a few that are able to fix nitrogen and solubilize phosphorus, and all that's left for that is to ship our bacteria off to a third party, and they'll do all the sequencing for us, and we'll do more analysis from there.
As we are moving away from the use of inorganic materials, the endophytes are key in sustaining food production. One, in terms of when there is climate change. When there is climate change, when there is drought, we can get endophytes which can manage to sustain the crop production.
My project focused on the use of charged biochar in mitigating drought stress on African millets, and then as well as a food formulation experiment using finger millet and ground nuts to make baby food. The millets, they are a very drought tolerant plant. They're a C4 plant, which means they have higher photosynthetic activity. They're also really rich in micronutrients such as magnesium, calcium, zinc, and iron. And biochar, it's a carbon-rich substance made from agricultural waste, often by combusting it under low oxygen conditions. Specifically in this experiment, we're using biochar made from rice husk, and it's charged or enhanced with other minerals such as potassium and nitrogen.
What we've seen is that biochar so far has made the plants taller. It's allowed them to take in more water, to increase their water retention, and it's also made them look healthier. So right now we're just in the process of studying the plant vigor. We're going to do a root analysis, and we're also going to study the water leaf retention, how much water the leaf can suck up, and so this is ongoing research that we're doing. For my food formula for elders, we actually did a series of analysis on our food formulas. What we actually did is we fermented them for 4 different time periods, and one was for 6 hours, another one was for 12 hours, another one was 24, and we had a control for 0 hours. When you ferment your food for 6 hours, you're able to get a higher content of protein, a higher content of phosphorus, and then also a higher content of magnesium.
We've been trying to address how we can enhance availability of nutrient-dense foods, both in terms of cereals and legumes. And therefore, we've been trying to focus on mitigating against drought stress, because this is one of the biggest challenges in the dryland areas, together with low nutrient content in the soils.
So beetroot is a very beneficial vegetable. It has a lot of bioactive compounds, but unfortunately it has a very short shelf life due to it being a wet vegetable. But we found that if you if you transfer it from being a wet vegetable to beetroot powder, its shelf life expands, which makes it more accessible to people without access to refrigeration. So what we're finding out is, since the more people are making beetroot into beetroot powder, for it to be easier to be consumed, how many benefits does beetroot lose after it's converted to beetroot powder, and which drying methods are the most effective in making beetroot the most nutritious despite it being dried out.
To conclude and recommend, solar drying is most effective among both assays. When we analyze them together, we recognize this as the most effective drying method, and this is because it is high in its antioxidant preservation. It's cost effective, and it can extend shelf life. That's what the substance of this research was.
This work is still in development, and the idea here actually was for the university's dairy department. I had a student who was doing food science, wanted to use this beetroot powder as a food colorant in yogurt, the yogurt that we produce. So moving towards natural food colors. So that is the impact that we are looking going forward. Experiments will be done to see whether the beetroot colored yogurt will have an appeal. And so, because it might not add a flavor, but as long as the color is changed and people, it's appealing, we will stop buying these artificial colors for colorants for food.
This is my first research experience, so the fact that it's international, it has a lot of different aspects to it. Just being immersed in the African culture and learning about the nature here of Kenya and its culture and what the day-to-day life looks like here.
Last weekend we went to Kisumu, and then we did a weekend trip, and then we also went to Lake Victoria, and just seeing the water and like being more, I guess, engaged with people here after being here on campus, kind of working full time, it kind of really gave me the full experience, so I really enjoyed that.
It's like just going out and to see Nairobi, Nakuru, going all the way out towards Uganda to see Kisumu and Busia, and just seeing the whole country, you know, as it is. I'm glad that we're not like locked in here all the time, and we're able to immerse ourselves in Kenya while we have the opportunity.
So I plan to present at my school student research forum in the spring, as well as at the Tri-Beta Biological Honor Society regional conference in the spring. And if I do well enough there, I'll go to the national.
The collaboration that we now have between Egerton and Boy University, bringing in undergraduate students has helped to fill in that gap. When they come, we put them on a program to achieve a specific objective within the project.
And this is the fourth time that I'm working with these students, and I've seen improvements from the first cohort, the second cohort, and the third cohort. We've seen changes in the quality of the students and also their focus, and also they are also helping our students to learn quite a number of things, and we're also benefiting from them, how the American system works, which is all about accuracy, focus, and is very honest.
The rich collaboration that Egerton enjoys with some of the global research institutions like International Livestock Research Institute in Nairobi have been very useful in providing additional insights and also exposing these students to the ongoing researches and state-of-the-art facilities, which we believe is very critical for producing a modern graduate for global market. Other exposure visits were targeted to specific institutions, research stations and labs.
Karibu sana, karibu sana wa Kenya.
The program and the students have been just truly amazing. They're very, very impressive. They are bright, talented. I was extremely impressed with their presentations, their knowledge of their subject matter, and I was really in awe of how self-confident they were in presenting the information about their subject. They focused on food insecurity and looking at plant science, and their wealth of knowledge was just extraordinary. They've only been here for a short time period, but you can tell that they've grown and learned so very much in that short period that they've been here. I believe our collaboration will continue to grow and expand. I've seen here what is possible, and each cohort that comes through seems to just flourish.
Since inception, that is in the year 2019, this program has enabled students to scale heights in their scholarly pursuits. A lot of publications have come out of the researches that these particular students have done with our Kenyan mentor professors. Secondly, a number of students out of this program have joined and progressed to are currently doing doctorate programs in the US. And we are foreseeing an impact from the community point of view because they interact with the Kenyan society. They are also impacting on the curriculum that we are actually delivering at Egerton University. And it also impacts on the manner in which our own graduate students carry out their research.
Last year we had 11 students that presented their work at a national conference called Emerging Researchers Conference. And the exciting thing is that we had our students win number 1 poster presentation, number 2, and even number 3. We are grateful to the funders, USDA, the program director. Thank you so much for supporting us over the years, and I want to assure you that this work is beneficial, the students are impacted, and we are very, very grateful. And a big thank you to Bowie State University, our own President Bro.
I've had some good days. I've had some hills to climb. I've had some weary days and some sleepless nights. But when I look around and I think things over, all of my good days outweigh my bad days, and I won't complain. That's good, or you want me to keep going?
Keep going, sis.
Okay, sometimes the clouds are low, and I can hardly see the road. I ask a question, Lord, Lord, why so much pain? But He knows what's best for me. Although my weary eyes can't see, they just can't see. So I'll just say thank you, Lord. I won't complain. Asante sana wa Kenya. And that's Kenyan. So I guess we're all Kenyan since we came here.
Fam, you?
BSU, HU.